So let me tell you something, that you can learn any skill that you like, whether it's snowboarding, skiing, rafting, web development or app development or any language of your choice by just investing 20 qualitative hours of your time. Now for this rapid skill acquisition, you need to follow 5 basic principles. The first principle is set aside some time. There has to be a fixed time in your timetable when you'll be practicing the skill that you're learning. Now, if you tell yourself that you will do it or you will learn the skill or practice the skill whenever you find time, it will never be possible because there is nothing like finding time. People are so busy in their daily lives that if you don't set aside some time, if you don't fix something in your timetable, then it will not be possible. So whether it's once a week or twice a week, you have to set aside some time. And once you sit, you have to sit for at least, or once you practice, you have to practice for at least 60 minutes. And while sitting or while practicing, you have to take care of 2 things, that you have to remove all kind of environmental distractions. And the environmental distractions are of 2 kinds, the living environmental distractions and the non-living distractions. And once you are practicing the skill, you have to keep away from all these environmental distractions. So the living environmental distractions are your family and friends and the pets that you have, that once you're practicing a skill, that you completely concentrate on the skill. So the 60 minutes that you have set it aside, that they are not interrupted by anything in between. And similarly, the non-living environmental distractions are things like your phones or any kind of so electronic devices that you have, that you don't get interrupted by these devices. So this 60 minutes have to be just for the skill, just for the thing that you're practicing. Set it aside, fixed in your timetable, once or twice a week, however you set your timetable, but set it aside, that you know that this time is absolutely just for learning or practicing the skill. Now, second and the third principle go hand in hand together. So the second principle is that you have to fall in love with the skill that you are learning. So without the right kind of motivation and passion, you'll not be able to learn the skill, because once you're starting to learn something new, you have to go through the thing called frustration barrier. So if you have ever tried to learn tennis in your life, if you play tennis, you might know that for the first 5 hours of your practice time, you're just running after the balls. So you're running after the balls, and then you are tired and you throw away your racket because you're not able to do it. And that's called the frustration barrier. So if you're not motivated enough, if the passion is failing, you'll not be able to cross this frustration barrier. And here comes in our third principle, and that is the 20 hours milestone. So most of the people, once they start learning a new skill, they leave it after the 2nd, 3rd or 4th hour. Very less people reach the 5th hour milestone, because from 0 to 5 is our milestone is the space which is called the frustration barrier. So before 5 hours, you'll be frustrated every day with the thing that you're learning, but you have to keep on going. And after 5 hour barrier, you'll start enjoying the skill that you're learning. But then comes in that you have to tell yourself that you will not stop until you reach the 20 hours milestone. So from 0 to 5, if you're motivated enough, if you have the right kind of love, you'll cross the frustration barrier. And from 5 to 20, you have to set the next milestone, and that is the 20 hours milestone. That you keep on practicing with set it aside time that you have in your timetable until and unless you reach the 20-hour milestone. And that is our third principle. The fourth principle is that you define the target performance level. That you give a brief statement that how well you want to be able to practice the skill that you're learning. So for example, if you're learning web development, then you tell yourself that whether you want to achieve the target, that you'll be able to make a small website for your personal use or for a small company, or whether you want to be the next inventor of Facebook or Twitter, that you give a brief statement about it. Or if you're learning tennis, that you're learning to have fun. So once you're learning to have fun, then you just have to come out of the frustration level, whether it's the 5th hour or the 6th hour, or you want to be the next, who knows, Maria Sharapova. So these are the things. So you have to define the target performance level. But once defining the target performance level, you have to keep the reality in check. So you have to set realistic goals. So we'll not be flying in the air, because this will increase the frustration barrier if we set goals too high. So we will set goals which are realistic and then move step by step further. So once you achieve the first step, once you're out of the frustration barrier and you're having fun with the skill that you have acquired, then you can further keep on developing on that skill. So we'll set realistic goals, but we'll always have the target performance level in the mind, that the question is solved, that we know the question for which we're looking the answer. And that's the 4th principle. The 5th principle is that you forget perfectionism and emphasize on quantity and speed. That once learning a new skill, that you find the almost right kind of technique, or the fairly right kind of technique, and then you start practicing it over and over again. That you start adding to the quantity, that you practice this as many times as possible, and then you'll slowly and gradually move towards perfectionism. So in the beginning, you'll never be able to achieve perfectionism. And that's one of the greatest traps of all times, that you try to be perfectionist from the very first day. It will not be possible. And that's why it's important to set the realistic goals as well, that you know that what you can achieve. And then once you have the fairly right kind of technique, then you start adding up the speed and you start adding up the quantity. And that's our last principle, that you completely forget perfectionism, and that's how you will at the end reach perfectionism. Thank you very much for watching the video, and feel free to ask questions. And if you wish to watch my other videos and my courses, then look down in the details section. And if you want to stay connected, then subscribe. Goodbye.